If you're in the market to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you've tuned into the right show. Hello and welcome. You're watching Property Hotline with me, Kavita Krishnan, on India's first real estate channel, Magicbricks Now. Today, we'll be answering queries related to buying, selling, or investing in property. Our guest for the day, our expert, is Mudassir Zaidi. Mudassir joins us from Delhi. He's the National Director, Residential at Knight Frank. Mudassir, welcome to the show.
Hi Kavita, thanks for having me.
Great to have you, Mudassir. Let's take our first question. Kiran has called in. Kiran, tell us what's your question.
Yes, अभी हम बम्बई में रहते हैं और
हाँ जी।
पूना रहने को जाने का है।
किरण, अगर आपका टीवी ऑन है तो उसे म्यूट कर दीजिए क्योंकि बहुत डिस्टर्बेंस आ रहा है। हाँ, अब बताइए सवाल क्या है आपका।
हाँ जी, हम बम्बई में रहते हैं और अगले वीक से पूना जा रहे हैं रहने के लिए।
ठीक है।
तो हमारा ऑफिस है उधर हिंजेवाड़ी में और रेसिडेंट के लिए वाकड़ या पिंपले सौदागर।
हाँ जी।
ये दो एरिया में रेसिडेंट के लिए फ्लैट चाहिए 1 BH किराए पे। तो कितना किराया लगेगा?
कितना किराया लगेगा? ठीक है, आप क्या ढूंढ रहे हैं वहाँ पर? 1 BHK, 2 BHK, क्या रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है आपका?
1 BHK।
1 BHK वाकड़ या पिंपले सौदागर में ढूंढ रहे हैं। मुदस्सिर, आप क्या कहेंगे और किराया कितना देना होगा इन्हें?
1 BHK in Wakad would be in the range of about 10 to 12,000 rupees a month, and the size of the property roughly would be in the range of about 6 to 650 square feet. That's the range that you will get in Wakad. Okay,
and what about Pimple Saudagar?
So it's a similar range. It's not too different a micro market. It will be a similar size and a similar range as well, depending on the kind of property, slightly higher or lower, but the range is similar.
Now, Mudassir, Kiran is very clear that he is going to be working in Hinjewadi. So, in terms of, distance, connectivity, etc., would Wakad and Pimple Saudagar tick the right boxes?
Yeah, the connectivity towards the western side is decent from here. Obviously, traveling time in Pune has increased dramatically in the last few years. So if you're working on the western side, you rather live nearer to the site, and if you're working on the eastern side, there's no point crossing the entire city and really going the other side. So this has decent connectivity. However, if he's working in Hinjewadi, I think there are now options available towards Hinjewadi itself as well. However, those are still early stages right now, and most of them are large townships that are still getting settled right now. Wakad, Pimple Saudagar are decent areas, well-settled areas now. Decent properties available in the range that he's looking at. So, I'm sure he's done some level of homework already. Decent connectivity available to his place of working.
Right, किरण, तो आपका जवाब यही है 10 से 12 हज़ार होगा किराया पिंपले सौदागर या वाकड़ में। हर महीने आपको 10 से 12 हज़ार रुपये देने होंगे। और अगर आप कोई और ऑप्शंस भी देखना चाहे तो हिंजेवाड़ी में भी आपको इस बजट में ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे। हालांकि यहाँ पर ज़्यादातर प्रोजेक्ट्स जो है फ़िलहाल बनकर तैयार हो रही है और यहाँ पर लोग अब शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं। वैसे वाकड़ और जो आपने चुना है पिंपले सौदागर, दोनों ही काफ़ी सेटल्ड इलाके हैं और चॉइस आपका काफ़ी बढ़िया है। मुदस्सिर का यही कहना है। लेट्स मूव ऑन। वी हैव राहुल मेहरा who's joined us on the phone. Rahul, tell us what's your question.
My question is, I actually purchased an apartment in year 2004 in Satellite Ahmedabad. That is 100 feet road, Satellite Ahmedabad. So I wanted to know whether now I should sell this apartment or not, because it's just an investment. I'm staying in a separate house already. So I should sell it and invest in some other area, or should I keep it for some more time? Because actually after what has happened is prices have gone up till 40 lakhs. Now they've come down to 36 lakhs. So I wanted to know, should I sell at this price or should I keep it for some more time? That's my question was.
Right.
And should I invest in a new property?
Right. Let's get in Mudassir over here. Mudassir, Satellite in Ahmedabad is supposed to be one of the hottest property locations, but Rahul says that rates have actually gone down. Do you agree with what he has to say? And what should he do? Sell or hold?
In fact, we were looking at the latest numbers yesterday itself, and we came out with our half-yearly report on that. Ahmedabad has been a market which has, compared to the rest of the seven cities in India, has kind of bucked the trend. In fact, in the last 6 months or so, there has been a significant interest or increase in real estate activity in Ahmedabad. But there has been a striking change as well in the way that this has happened. Areas like Paldi, Naranpura, Vasna, etc., have really taken a march ahead in terms of new launches and invest and buyer interest coming in there. So one is that Ahmedabad as a city has started to move ahead, in a very, very significant manner compared to the rest of the cities in India, which are still either flat or having a very, very slow uptick in buyer activity. Definitely launches in all the other cities have gone down significantly. However, Ahmedabad, as I said, has had a significant interest in terms of new launches happening and purchases happening. So one is that the uptick in demand has started. Activity in Ahmedabad has now gone up significantly as compared to the other cities. That's one. Secondly, if I look at the property itself that Mr. Mehra has kind of bought, see, older properties start, obviously it has appreciated in the last, 12 years that he has held on to this. It has reached its peak and it's come down. People generally start preferring newer properties with newer specifications, etc., as time goes by. Secondly, 10, 12-year old properties also start getting issues with regard to maintenance,
Right.
especially if the developer hasn't used the best quality in terms of material, etc., then pipes and other things start getting corroded and leakages and other stuff start happening.
Right.
So generally, unless somebody really wants to be only in that area or has been living in that vicinity or and likes
So,
this
so you
particular
recommend that he sells it
apartment
now?
complex,
Mudassir, you
yeah,
recommend that he sells it now then?
my sense is he should, if it's just for investment, his additional uptake in terms of pricing would be limited in this older property. He should definitely look to sell it and take advantage of the newer shift in what is happening in Ahmedabad. He should look at these western areas and central areas of Ahmedabad where newer activity is happening. And as I mentioned, Paldi, Naranpura, Vasna, etc., these are areas that
Right.
he should look at and identify what can be bought in his budget.
Right, Rahul, you've held the property for a long time. A time to sell that now and reinvest it in Western and Central Ahmedabad. Look at Narangpura, Vasna or Paldi where you can get new supply coming in. Let's move on. We have Yogesh Shenoy who's written in through email. Now Yogesh says that he wants to buy a property of around 70 lakh rupees in and around Goregaon, Malad, Kandivali, Borivali. He wants to know how the property rates in the future look like. Will they drop in future? Should I buy it now or wait for some time? Now he's not very clear whether he wants to buy about the size of the property, but considering his budget is around 70 lakhs, Mudassir, I would hazard a guess that it's probably a 1 BHK.
Yeah.
Even then, do you think that the budget is, doable for the locations?
See, it'll be a tight fit, I think, in terms of the type of project that he can go for. It'll be largely be smaller developers, smaller builders. If he always certainly Goregaon, Malad, etc., Kandivali is out of range, but maybe Borivali there might be some developers, smaller ones, which might be able to give a 1 BHK in that that kind of a budget. But my guess is he'll have to still stretch that a little bit. Now, in terms of his question on specifically about the property rates per se, Mumbai has had a muted second half of 2015. And however, interest in properties is continuing and the prices have continued to stay stable over a period of time. If I look at the, in terms of prices, even in the worst of times, the prices haven't gone down. And I'm talking about base prices. They haven't gone down. However, developers are giving good deals through other means. For example, they will take care of a lower floor rise, or will take care of, maybe car park charges will be reduced, or other taxes or things like that can be reduced. So buyers are still getting a good
Right.
deal.
Right.
And if he's an long-term investor or an end user, my sense is this is the best time to buy. Rates haven't fallen in worse times. Things are starting to get better.
Right.
Whether
Probably
it's
best time
sustainable,
to buy for you right now, Yogesh. And if you were looking at the charts that we were showing you, prices have stayed flat in the Mumbai market, which is the point that Mudassir was also making. However, you probably need to, stretch your budget a little more, especially if you're looking at these particular micro markets. Mudassir, one more thing that I want to ask you before we move on to our next question. Now, we know that in Mumbai, the eastern part of the suburbs and the western part of the suburbs, there is a huge price differential. Would you recommend that, he probably chooses east over west, though Kandivali East and Kandivali West are equally well developed? But what would you recommend? Would he, probably find
see,
something within his budget?
See, in fact, the eastern side has far more organized development than the western side in these locations, especially because the eastern side kind of developed later, and therefore larger developers with far more organized and larger schemes came about. In fact, newer activities, and a large scale is happening more on the eastern side than on the western side. Therefore, when I talked about smaller developers and options available, actually would have been available on the western side, which has been in existence for a much longer time. And so there the option would be, I think, more available to him on the western side rather than on the eastern side.
Okay, Yogesh. So that's another big tip coming your way. Don't look east if you are living in the western suburbs. If you're looking at the Goregaon, Malad, Kandivali, Borivali market, in fact, look west. You will probably find older developments, smaller developments, which will probably fit your budget. Let's move on. We have a question that comes from Harish. Harish has written in on our website www.mbnow.in. He says that he wants to invest in a commercial property in Gurgaon. He has a budget of 50 lakh rupees. Mudassir, he wants to know if AIPL projects in sector 62 and 66 are worth considering. What are the other good options? Now, that's a question that we don't see too much of on the show. Very few people look to invest in commercial property. Could you, also kind of break it down for the rest of our viewers in terms of the returns that they can expect from investing in a commercial property, especially in terms of rentals and capital appreciation?
See, commercial, you rightly said, fewer people actually look at commercial, especially at early stage commercial. Most commercial properties are bought as pre-leased commercial properties, as investments, where people actually either buy assets which are leased out for a longer period of time to tenants. That really helps in getting annuity income. Fewer people look at early stage constructions in commercial. If I look at pre-leased commercial properties, then different cities will have different ranges. But since he's spoken about the NCR region and specifically Gurgaon, then commercial properties, and within commercial there is pure play commercial and there is IT, and both get developed under different regulations. There is slightly higher FSI, etc., available under IT. Therefore, it is available at a better price. Commercial properties, good with good tenants, good properties will actually go at capital rates of roughly 6.5–7%. So basically, the value of the property will get determined by the value of the rentals available on that property. So they will basically capitalize the value on the rental. So if there is a 100 rupee rental available on this, you capitalize that, and say that you will get 6.5 or 7%. 100 rupees is equal to 6.5% of the overall capital value in a year. That's how you calculate that, which is a pre-leased property. But in vacant properties, generally people who look to occupy that and look to use that as shops, etc., or have the wherewithal to hold on to the property in a vacant stage till the new tenant comes in, they go for this particular thing. These sectors 62 and 66 that Harish has spoken about are basically areas under the golf course extension areas. Now, the good news that has actually come very recently is that the entire 6-lane expressway, which is starting from DLF Cyber City, which is near the toll as you enter Gurgaon from Delhi, and goes all the way up to DLF Phase 5 and towards the end of Golf Course Road, is now being extended up to Golf Course Extension as well, which means that the benefit of a wide 16-lane road is available almost up to sector 62 and 66 as well.
Right.
And Golf Course Extension itself is a wide road.
Right.
So my sense is slightly early sectors, because a lot of development is happening in Golf Course Extension. 62 and 66 also are areas where a lot more properties are coming in. Not too many people live in this area. But in times to come, when this infrastructure gets settled...
So how long should he hold this? If he gets into commercial property at this point in time, how long would you recommend he holds it?
One is that the property itself is at an early stage, so it will be some time before it gets delivered. And even after that, I think the entire area has to settle down. It will take maybe another 3 to 5 years before that it settles down as a normal habitable area.
Right.
Currently, there are a few projects where people stay in, but there's not too much social infrastructure which is existing in that. The Golf Course Road and Sona Road, which are right next to it, are fully
so
settled.
essentially it is a long-term investment that you should be looking at, Harish. However, Mudassir, very quickly, it's time for us to get into a break. Very quickly, tell me this. We've seen office markets booming for some time. Is this the right time for a small investor like Harish to actually get into the office market? Good or bad? Just tell us yes or no.
See, next 3 years would be definitely good for the commercial property market. The supply, which is limited in the market, demand is going up, so therefore rentals, etc., should start going up in times to come. So my sense is a good time to buy.
Good time to get into commercial property as well. Harish, you've got yourself a good plan over there, so go ahead, invest in that property. We have a caller on the line. KM Singh has called in. Mr. Singh, tell us what's your question.
Ma'am, my query is with respect to a project by Universal Landmark. The name of the project is Mesmerizing Woods.
Okay.
It's an agriculture plot near Hinjewadi.
Okay.
My query is basically, I would like to know your view about the project. Secondly, the rate and the cost prevailing in the area, and whether it is a good investment, so far this particular agriculture land is concerned.
Okay. Mr. Singh, have you already bought it or do you plan to buy it? And is this for investment or end use?
It's an investment from point of view, and I have seen the project. I have not yet bought it.
Okay, you've seen the project. What do you recommend, Mudassir? Should Mr. Singh buy into this project?
Yes, as far as I understand, this is under new GR where about areas about 10 kilometers radius from PMC outer limits are can be converted into basically NA. That's so on payment of any kind of charges, etc. So it's a deemed R zone kind of an area, as far as I understand. Most of these, from what I know about this particular project, I think it's about 16, 17 kilometers away from the main Hinjewadi area. But if you've seen the property, in turn, and if you like it, I think these proposed R zones in Pune are basically currently, I think, safe to invest in, because a lot of people, it's only about payment of a certain amount to get it converted. So if you like it, definitely you can go ahead in it. Most of the properties in these areas are large developments in and around Hinjewadi, and the per square feet range around here is about 4,500 to 5,500 per square feet. So there is Volte Patil's Life Republic, which is about a 400-acre township there. There is Kumar Properties, 130-acre township. There is Yon Home, the Kasturi housing, which is in phase 3. Then there is Blue Ridge by Paranjape, which is about 120-acre township. These are all large townships available where you can also look at, which could be, because Hinjewadi is a booming location for IT and a lot more large companies coming in there. So that's apart from
Right. So
a
are you
lot of jobs.
essentially, Mudassir, are you essentially recommending that he looks at at a township that a developer is making as opposed to buying land in the R zone?
Actually,
Is that what you're saying?
not really. If he likes this particular location and is willing to take a little bit of risk in terms of the conversion into NA, which is non-agricultural, because he's essentially looking at
At
a home
agriculture.
in this location, is not only looking at an agricultural plot. It can be looked at, but obviously the location is much further away. And therefore, if he likes it, then definitely can be looked at it.
Right.
However, the general way of the investment in these are these large projects that are in the vicinity in the range of about 4,500 to 5,500.
Okay. So, Mr. Singh, that's your answer there. If you're willing to take a little element of risk, then you can probably look at these R zone plots, or else there are a lot of townships that are coming into that market. You could also look at those, which would be far, probably safer investments. Let's move on. We have Gaurav Jain, who's sent in a question on Twitter. He says that I'm looking for a 4 BHK villa in Noida extension area, budget of 1 crore. Can you please suggest a good project? 1 crore is a fairly large budget for Noida extension. What do you say, Mudassir?
Certainly a large sum. However, he's also looking at a villa out there. So a large sum for an apartment, but a decent budget for a large-sized villa. He's looking at a 4 BHK villa. If he's looking at Noida extension, I would definitely ask him to look at Ajnara's villas. Basically, these are 4 BHK, about 3,100 odd square feet of size, and roughly about a crore and 5 lakhs or so, we can definitely get one. But the other thing that I can suggest is if he moves a little further away towards, obviously, Noida extension is also Greater Noida West. But if he looks towards the regular Greater Noida area in Sector Zeta, there is Paramount Golf Forest, which is available, which is ready to move in. So if he is not, if he doesn't
Right.
want to take any execution risk and he wants to get a ready-made, a ready possession villa, then for under a crore he can get something in the range of about 2.5 to 2,600 square feet of 4 BHK villa, and which would be also a good option to look at.
Right, Gaurav, that's a laundry list of, options that Mudassir has given you. So go happy house hunting, and if you have any more problems, you can come back to us and we'll answer your questions. With that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Property Hotline. Mudassir, thank you so much for joining us from Delhi. Hope to see more of you in future on this show. We'll be back on Saturday, however, to answer some more of your questions on buying, selling, or investing in property. Also coming up this Wednesday, that is the coming Wednesday, we will be answering all questions, problems related to housing society. So if you have any housing society issues, do send in your questions. You all know how to reach out to us. You can write in to us on email, on Facebook, on our website. You can send in video queries. You can tweet to me. I would love to hear from you. Or you could call in live like all those other callers you saw on the show tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Keep watching Magicbricks Now.